What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. We are back with another Man United News Roundup. Not a lot to go over today, but I feel like there's a potential for a lot of thoughts and a lot of discussion to be had over the new rumors that we have. We've got some potential incoming, some potential outgoings. I've got a little bit of a loan watch situation for you, some updates regarding some of the youngsters as well. And so I want to get all of your thoughts about that. So that's what we're doing today. You guys know the drill by now. Make sure you like that video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check the memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the content we put out. Check the UVE store. Tons of designs in there all over the place. There might be a sale coming up soon, so I'll have to go check that. But if there is, you guys know I will let you know as soon as I know if there is a sale coming up. So anybody who's been on the fence, anybody who likes the look of like the Mboom shirt, the 9.5 shirt, the class of 92 shirt, anybody who likes the look of any of that, still doesn't want to maybe spend the little bit of money that they cost, you'll get a discount soon. I think it's like the end of the month, so I will let you guys know. Also, code in the description, GoGoalShop. Go check it out. You get $5 off when you register. They do have the third kit, so keep an eye out for that one. What else? Kickabout tomorrow, chilling with Dylan. Don't forget about that. And I'm excited now that I've just remembered. I'm excited to announce that with the return of Premier League football comes the return of What If. You guys remember What If episodes? I know that some of you really like those. Seasons 1 and 2 are both in their own playlist. You guys can go check those out if you want. There's no order. There's no anything like that. You don't have to watch them all like you're watching the Marvel movies in order. But they are fun. You guys know what we do with those. But season 3 will be dropping soon. Spoiler alert for the first episode of season 3 will drop soon as well. So again, season 3 of What If will pop up. And you guys know what that means. It's basically reimagining what major points in United's history, like how things could have gone differently had those moments gone differently. You guys looked at some of those. What if David De Gea had saved even just one penalty in the Europa League final? What if George Best had not been convinced to stay at United? The big one, season 2 finale, what if the Glazers never bought the club? All those are explored. I did do research. It's not just me sitting around with a can of beer playing little imaginary games like I'm in kindergarten. No, I've done research. There is a lot of information, a lot of research out there. I've even made some contacts with a few people who were involved back then. So a lot of it is pretty legitimate. So I'm not saying it 100% could have happened, but a lot of it is based on legitimate facts. So, and if you've watched any of those, you guys know. So do all that, you guys. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And you know, first and foremost, I got to get involved in the chat and see who's dropping in today. Lucky, big up, Lucky. Everyone's already jumping ahead. We'll get there. Yes, 44 million or 45 million. Yeah. I wouldn't mind a bit of a sell-on clause. And I feel like the lower we go with that, the higher sell-on clause I want. So if Chelsea want to throw out 40 million, give me like a 25% sell-on clause, and we'll take it from there. Shantani, welcome back, and we will talk about Rabiot shortly. Don't worry, we got it all locked and loaded, ready to go, man. Sanjay, able to catch us live. Sanjay, we're gonna play a game every time I see you pop up live. Where in the world is Sanjay? Tell us where you are this time, Sanjay. Sanjay is a bit of a globetrotter, but big up. Box, welcome back, Box. Good to see you again, my friend. He wants 50 million minimum for Garnacho. Bexy, welcome. Bexy thinks Garnacho will be a done deal pretty quickly. It's been a done deal for like a week. It's been close and advanced, or whatever other euphemism you want to say for, almost over the line that Fabrizio Romano has thrown out. We've seen it all. It's like the transfer rumor thesaurus, right? Monitoring, keeping tabs, asked to be informed. We've seen them all these days. Talks are advanced, super close, any moment here. Or my favorite one is when they just repost an earlier rumor and then put like the little eyes or the little hourglass. That's the best one. You just minimal, don't need to say it, but it says a lot. I love it. I'm here for it. New is Goo is welcome back, man. Says I watched the Gume highlights. I'm not impressed. His movement looks awkward, unlike Baleba, who is smooth. Hey, fair enough. Everybody's got their. Now remember, and I posted earlier today on my Twitter account, the channel's Twitter account. I reposted the live stream that we did, the transfer news live stream from 2 months ago, when I did a scouting report on Lucien Igume. So if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know that back to like mid-June, I actually did one of my scouting reports on him. So I reposted that. I started it at the moment right before we go into that scouting report, so you guys know what to expect from those. So you guys are having fun here. Yeah. You guys know my thoughts on Garnacho. We're going to talk all about that. Real quick, though, to piggyback off. So obviously we did the match reaction the other day on Sunday. That was Sunday night. We did it the same day. I don't usually do them same day, but I felt like doing it. Sometimes, like I said, my schedule when I do the live streams isn't always consistent, mostly because of it's dependent on my schedule here at home and like my wife's schedule. So sometimes you get them at a certain time, sometimes you don't. But you want to make sure you don't miss out. Hit the notification bell. It's the best way to make sure you're reminded when stuff's getting dropped. So real quick, piggyback off last night's match reaction, or 2 days ago, last reaction now. Go check that out if you guys weren't able to see the live show. We did talk a little bit about the match, individual performance, overall stats. Again, I thought we were a better side. Doesn't seem like I'm alone in that. Arsenal got themselves a fluky goal. There's tons of fouls going on. Literally any number of the fouls on that corner kick on our players could have been called because we've seen them called already this past weekend. But it is what it is. They don't blame the refs. That's a tin pot thing to do, but the refs do need to go better. And a lot of other pundits and whatnot have kind of said the same. You notice Dermot Gallagher kind of doing everything he can to avoid even addressing that goal and that controversy. So that's usually how you know we've been hard done by, but it is what it is. But there are some signs of improvement following Amorim's first season and the first official preseason, especially when it comes to intensity. I saw this posted earlier. I want to say this is from an account. I think it's like EPL statistics or something. Don't quote me on that on Twitter, but this is just based on the weekend's performances. If you look, you've got that y-axis as the pressing intensity, and then you've got the x-axis as the average possession. So when it comes to pressing intensity versus possession, you can see high pressing intensity, high possession from us on the day against Arsenal. Arsenal are way in that bottom left-hand quadrant. We are way up there with the likes of City, with the likes of Chelsea, with the likes of Spurs in terms of the high pressing and high possession. Again, signs of progress, and I think that's why a lot of United fans, yes, we're bummed about the loss, but a lot of us have seen. Everybody said last year, as long as we see signs of progress, as long as we can see something, then we'll be fine. Like we'll put some faith, and I think that we've seen this. I've seen too many accounts already calling for Amorim to be sacked. Like there's literal signs of progress. So I'm not happy with the loss, like I said, but the performance is much better. And if we keep it up, I think we're going to be fine this season personally. But y'all let me know what you think about that. Again, go watch that other video if you guys haven't yet. Sanjay's home waiting for the draw. I think there was a qualifier today. Club Brugge and Rangers, I think, were playing a little bit. So Sanjay's going to an Ajax game. Nice, man. Big up. Nuba says, I'm not mistaken, Arsenal were linked with him last year. Their comments were unfavorable. Well, last time I would I would think twice before taking the word of Arsenal fans. If you could take all the Arsenal fans after Arsenal win a couple matches versus Arsenal fans at the end of the season when it looks like they're not going to win the league and just kind of compare the two, it's the same fans too. It's ridiculous. Arsenal fans are the worst, dude. Seriously. You guys are funny. Bexy says, Cunha is a world beater. His confidence is there. He looks a Man United player like Ronaldo. He would take it to the opposition every time. Having him around will improve the squad in every way. Yeah, we needed somebody who's got that kind of that mentality, right? I see a lot. I see glimpses of like Licha in there as well. A little bit of that Zlatan kind of like, who the fuck do you think you are kind of mentality from him. I really like, and I'm still bricked up thinking about that turn in the second half on Sunday, and then him trying to get pulled down. Oh man. You know, I mean, Ben White, dude, I don't know, maybe he's got too much spray tan on his hands. Maybe that's why he's kept slipping his grip on Cunha's shirt while he's trying to grab him. I don't know, bro, but that shit was hilarious. I'm still laughing about that, man. That's so funny. Moving on, because you guys are talking about him right now. So let's talk about Lucien Nagume and these rumors that I woke up to this morning. Like I said before, I don't do scouting reports. I don't do the whole scouting thing to have these like pat on the backs or anything, but I have mentioned it is a little bit of point of pride when one of these players that we talk about and that I bring you guys a report for ends up kind of blowing up months later. We saw it with certain he who shall not be named, who went from Club Brugge to AC Milan. Now we're seeing it again with Lucien Nagume. because in the last 24 hours, there have been a few Sevilla-based outlets. And I want to make sure I preface this. The only outlets I've seen a lot of these rumors have been Sevilla-based outlets. So I saw 3 different outlets, and they all literally say have Sevilla in the title of their name, their handles in some way, shape, or form. So you want to make sure you take that into context here. But they've all been popping off reports that United are interested in 21-year-old center midfielder Lucien Agume as an alternative, as a backup option, as a plan B to Carlos Baleba. One source even claimed United put in a bid of around 22 to 26 million pounds, but Sevilla apparently holding out for 35 million release clause. Again, it's just Sevilla-based outlets so far, so I'm a little bit skeptical of it. But again, you remember I scouted him a few months back on the channel. I really like him a lot. I think he does tick a lot of boxes. These are the numbers that we put up when we did that. Again, you can see the defensive numbers are excellent. The ball progression is pretty good as well. He's got a lot of progressive passes. He tries to make a lot of progressive passes. His take-ons are very, very good. I think that if he can improve his pass completion, and I think if you notice, you see a lot of long balls attempted from him, similar to what we were playing yesterday or on Sunday. And I'd like to see him just carry that ball a little further up the pitch right now. But again, young player, 21 years old. Again, well above average for those shot creating actions as well. I think that someone like him is really going to do well with a player like a Shesko, or like we saw the way we were playing, trying to find these wide players. I think you're going to see him do very, very well. And the physical side of things, I mean, top 4% for interceptions, top 15% for tackles, aerials, again, top 14%. Like, he's ticks all those boxes in terms of what we need him to do on off the ball. He's always got room to improve on the ball. He's still very young. So some people would prefer to go with Baleba. I think Baleba is still obviously the better option, of course, like hands down. But again, the question is, what do you think? You know, the price tag is hard to pass up personally. Even if you pay the release clause, it's hard to pass that up. He is still a step down, in my opinion, like I said, from Baleba. He's probably a step down too from Adam Wharton, if I had to be honest with you. I'd probably put him a little bit above Hayden Hackney personally, just cause. I mean, that's just personal though. It doesn't mean Hackney's bad. You guys know how much I love Hackney, but I'd probably put this guy a little more above him. Hackney can sometimes drift in and out of the action, if that makes sense. He doesn't always assert himself in this situation, which is not a bad thing, but I'd like to see a little bit more of that. And I think Agume is probably a little quicker too. I like looking around Europe for other players as well, but the question is, do you think Agume is good enough? Do you see enough of him? I'm sure everyone has been watching compilations, looking up numbers, heat maps, all that shit today. I'm sure everyone has. Again, I saved you the trouble 2 months ago when we did the scouting report. I showed you everything you needed to know. And so you could go back and watch that. Again, go check out Twitter. You'll see it pinned to my channels here. So would you be okay with Agume as a plan B? Do you just want plan A? I mean, it is what it is. Laurie Whitwell claims United are going to carefully weigh the pros and cons before spending any more money, and he also adds that a midfielder is not exactly guaranteed. I still personally think goalkeeper is going to be more important personally. I mean, you could get Lamens and Agume for like 60 million, which is probably what we were going to put a down payment on for Carlos Baleba. And so that's the kind of math I can get behind. What are y'all saying here in the chat? Let's see. Box says, how would you rate 1 to 7 in terms of who would you choose to buy out of Wharton, Baleba, Kamara, Agume, Hillman, Stiller, Hackney, Ederson? Wow. 1 being the best. I'd probably go Baleba 1, Wharton 2. Probably going Kamara 3, Agume 4, Hackney 5. Stiller, I don't see enough of defensive work from Stiller personally. You've got like 8 names there, but you only had 1 to 7. So Hillman, I really like too. Maybe Hillman goes above the other 2 because he's got that leadership that I like too. That's a hard one. That's a good question though. Well, let me know what your thoughts were. Box says, I just want some goals, some finishers, no walking the ball into the net or overpassing it. Well, we've got goal scorers now. We bought 3 attackers this summer, 2 of which literally scored just 9 less goals, the 2 of them combined last year in the league, than we did all as a whole team last year. 2 of which were in the top 10, I think, goal scorers in the Premier League last season as well, who were in the prime of their career, arguably 2 of the best attackers in the Premier League. I like that. I like that a lot. So I like when we used to be like Bayern, when we used to look at the best players in the league and we just go get them. I don't have a problem with that at all, even if it's spending, 60, 65 personally. So Nubis says that amount that Sevilla asked for him is more than what Milan played for he who must not be named. Yeah, well, it's always going to be, more when it's a release clause. So it is what it is. From what I've read, he who shall not be named was kicking up a little bit of a fuss about it, which always, helps the buying team as well. It is Club Brugge as well. So getting a player from Club Brugge, even if you spend 25 million for Club Brugge, from their perspective, that's huge. I'm not trying to you guys know I love Club Brugge. I watch a lot of the Belgian league, but there's levels in terms of the spending. Like that like makes their season financially almost, Club Brugge. And if they qualify for the Champions League, that's even going to be a bigger help. I want to check that score too while we're at it, you guys. Make sure you like in that video. Make sure you subscribe. 19 watching. I better see 19 likes. If not, I'm going to make me cry. Club Brugge are currently up 3-1. Big up, Club Brugge. Up the club. Baxi says, the worry is that the Spanish league is so much slower than the EPL. Not sure about this one. I like an EPL player again. Yeah, and like I said, I listed a couple more players. Like I would probably still take Baleba, right? He's still a top choice for me. Wharton, I think, ticks a lot of boxes in that regard. João Gomez, I definitely like as well. Hackney does have the English football experience, which I also really like as well. So there are a lot of options. I think, though, that we've also seen that you can get really good players from outside of England, and they're going to do well. Bruno is a perfect example of that, I think, personally. Obviously, Hojlund, but he's a bit of an outlier. You're going to get a lot of good players from other leagues, and so I'm not too concerned if your scouting is good enough and whatnot. I mean, Jobazlai came in and did really, really well at Liverpool, too. So there's a lot of players that you can get. It's just, if you have good recruitment, good analysts, good scouts, good talent identification and stuff, I think that you can make that transition as seamless as possible. So, but I hear you. I definitely hear you. Big up, Danny. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Nuba says, why not go after Stiller? Yeah, Stiller is an option. I've listed Stiller. I put a post the other day when it looked like we weren't going to get Baleba, but I listed, like, off the top of my head, just based on players we've scouted, I listed like 20 players, and Stiller was one of them. Stiller's definitely a good playmaker. I just like to see his off-the-ball numbers improve a little bit because he's not really super above average, I want to say, in those tackles, those interceptions. And you just have to have that in the Premier League, unfortunately, especially if you're playing in a double pivot against so many teams who have already really physical, really energetic midfields. And you saw, like, Arsenal teams who have play 3-man midfields. Like we were chasing shadows almost against Arsenal. Now, I know a lot of people were criticizing Bruno, but I think that two things we have to remember. Again, two midfielders playing against three midfielders. Two midfielders, one of whom is Casemiro, who can't run. One of whom is Bruno, who's not playing who's a 10. Three midfielders in Arsenal who have been playing together for the last several years and have been playing in this league. That team has been under this rebuild for a while. And if you remember, and then I don't know if you guys noticed this against Arsenal as well. I noticed that I made notes of it. I forgot to mention in my video, but Amorim mentioned we want De Ligt to move up a little higher and almost take up a midfield position. Now, you saw there were certain points when someone like Cunha or someone like Mbumo would move a little centrally and kind of pull Arsenal's players a little bit. And what that did was allow Bruno to take up that space, because it basically made Bruno unmarked in a more advanced area of the pitch. But if you notice that when he did that, Casemiro would stay behind, but De Ligt would move up a little bit to make a two-man pivot in kind of a rest defense kind of situation. Those are the kind of things that it's hard to notice when you're watching live, because we tend to watch the ball because it's live, right? This is why I always go back and watch the game again when I'm working out the next day, and I'll take a little bit more notes. But I didn't have time to do that Sunday, but that's why I forgot to put it in there. But those kind of things we're seeing a little bit more like that. There's a little bit more fluidity there. So, but no, I like Stiller Nubis. You guys know that. Danny's just home from work. Big up, man. Good to see you. Hackney. Hackney over Agume. Danny wants to know. Hackney over Agume. I can go look and see. Hold on. Let's go here. I can put it up right on the screen. Hold on, guys. Give me one hot second here, since you guys are asking about Hayden Hackney. You guys know I love Hackney. I'm on permanent Hayden Hackney watch. I posted the other day because he scored a goal for Middlesbrough. So it's definitely a player that I like. Let me just bring up Always takes a hot second. All right. Let's do this. Let's share this tab instead. All right. So there's Hackney compared to Lucien Agume. Now Hackney is in blue, Agume is in red. So you're going to see again a little bit more defensive minded from Agume. Hackney's definitely more of the ball progressor. And so again, and I've said that about Hackney for a while. He's not the quickest, kind of gets involved in breaking up play and whatnot in terms of deep lying, which it's not a problem necessarily. He's just not as defensive minded as some of these other midfielders. Now he does get back into position a lot and contribute in terms of like blocks and clearances, but he wants to be playmaking. He wants that ball so he can get it on the half turn, get it up the pitch. He likes to make these late third man runs to get involved, as we saw over the weekend when he scored as well. And so there's a definite difference there. Now Agume's got similar take on numbers, it looks like, as well as Hackney. So yeah, it's going to be completely subjective at this point for who people prefer, if we're going to be honest with it. So let's see. Box says, buy Wharton now and Baleba next summer. just make it rain, Box. Just get it going, man. You guys are funny. I'm just trying to see if you guys are chatting here. Box says, should Licha be that man going forward in the future? He probably will be. I think that what we've seen, though, is the central defender in that back three is going to be the one who moves up a little bit to receive the ball. What you're going to see is the goalkeeper. This is why this system, just like Ten Hag, needs a goalkeeper who's decent on the ball, because your goalkeeper is going to kind of move up a little bit in that build up to kind of take up a spot where a center back might normally take up. The central center back's going to get forward about like 5-10 yards. And you saw it all like the whole time. You've got these two attackers who are trying to press the keeper. The keeper splits him with the pass. The ball goes right to De Ligt, who feeds it right out to Euro every single time. It's like clockwork. Now, one of these days, teams are going to figure that out, and it's going to cost us. We have to move the ball quicker. This is why I get so frustrated with how slowly we move the ball. We've got to do it faster. De Ligt's shown on Sunday that he can do it, but he's still a bit slow because he's not comfortable. He's not experienced doing that. But this is the way that system works. De Ligt will eventually move up again like he did to make that double pivot with Casemiro or Ugarte, whoever, as Bruno gets a little license to move forward into that free space. Bruno moving forward while everyone else is occupying our front attackers is what allows him to be able to do that. So Bexy says, I think sell Manu if he doesn't fit the system. He's got quality potential, but if he doesn't fit, I think I'm not saying you're doing this, Bexy, but I've seen a lot of people do. I think people are making a little bit too much out of Manu not getting any minutes. I think that this is going to happen. You only get a certain amount of subs. You only get 11 players on the pitch. Not everybody is going to get to play every single match. That's just the way it's going to be. It's nothing personal. These players know that. Manu's young. He should be a rotation player right now. He shouldn't really be a starter for Manchester United week in, week out necessarily. He could be. I really do think he could be, but he's still young. He's only been playing Premier League football at this level for just over a year and a half, and he was injured for a bit of that as well. And so I just don't go too hard in that. I don't think there's much in there personally. So Bexy says Cunha played deep a bit. Yeah. And that's the point I was making. He's taking up a spot where maybe Bruno would play, but that's now these Arsenal players are moving in to cover Cunha and it's leaving Bruno a bit open. I like this a lot. So Jay says Florentino Luis over Agume. Were you the one mentioning him for a while? Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, Romano rubbished all that earlier just before we went live. 20 million is a bunch of nonsense, so it is what it is. Danny says we need a ball progressor box to box. That's why I prefer Hackney, better passing range too. Yeah, you can almost close your eyes at this point, throw a stick, and hit any one of these midfielders that I listed the other day, any one of these midfielders that you guys are talking about today. And I think any one of them would improve us in midfield personally. Now, the question is, what do we do with who we have? In an ideal world, we could maybe move Casemiro on and take some of what he offers in terms of passing range and his kind of positioning, especially on set pieces, and we kind of get that. Ugarte, I still think, could have a role, but I don't know if it's the role that maybe we need necessarily. when you just want to win that when it's a straight up dogfight in midfield, I want Ugarte in there because he's just going to do the dirty work, and I don't mind that. But when we need to progress the ball, I like having someone who can do that. I like having more than just Bruno who can do that, because Bruno isn't a 6. He can do fine there. He had a shit game. It had nothing. His shit performance against Arsenal had nothing to do with positional and discipline. It had everything to do with the fact that he just had a bad day at the office. He was making very sloppy mistakes, kind of stuff you don't normally see him do. Like that whole pass to Euro in our box that led to that corner. Like that was just atrocious. But he did that a couple times. So definitely had a bad day personally. Let's see what y'all are saying here. Jay says, could you do a data report on 3 of them? I can't put up all 3 up here, I don't believe, personally. Let me see. Can I do all 3? No, I can't. I can only do 2 at a time. Now, I've done scouting reports on all these midfielders that you guys are talking about in the past. They're in various videos throughout the past. We've talked about Hayden Hackney so many times in this channel. It's almost like there's no point talking about him anymore. But we've also talked about Lucy Ngumi, like I said, 2 months ago as well. And so that's why I posted that video earlier on Twitter. And it says, we missed out on Statch. Leeds got to go. Oh, did he go to Leeds? Interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Since it is Leeds, so I doubt that they'll be in the Premier League next season either. So it is what it is. So Fox says, I just recovered from Ugarte taking that shot. What, were you in the parking lot at Old Trafford? Did you get hit by it? Was that what you mean? Oh boy, that was just that's like, and I said this the other day. I feel like some of the players, some of the performances that we had, there were moments that really highlighted the worst aspects of the players. And that moment, like there from Ugarte, was another one. Like zero composure in that moment. He didn't need to do that at all. Like the best, like if Mainu were on the pitch, I think Mainu dinks that ball into the box for someone who's making just a quick run off the shoulder, and maybe we get a little tap-in goal to equalize last minute. I'm not trying to bash Ugarte. I'm just saying there are differences, and Ugarte he's got the fire, God love him, but at the same time, he just needs to temper it a little bit. Danny says he played well against Everton. Well, who in the blue hell doesn't look good against Everton these days besides us, apparently? Yeah, I didn't watch the Leeds match, though, yesterday, So Lucy and Nagumi, I'm going to take this off the screen now so y'all can let me know what y'all think about that. Oops, what is happening here? Ugh. There we go. Boom. Let me just click this off because FB Ref, man, they got all these pop-ups and stuff, man. If I wasn't cheap, I would pay for it a little more, but I'm cheap, so it is what it is. I've already put so much money into getting this channel where it is. I gotta stop spending money on the channel. Although the channel did pay for my Salford ticket, so big up everybody for helping the channel grow. So I like that. So yeah, Dylan and I will be going over there in December. We are going to go check out a Salford match because unfortunately, no women's games, no academy matches while we're going to be there. Kind of a bummer. So, but it always is nice to squeeze in as much football as we can. So moving on, who says Sean kind of looks like Rade Vitek? Do I? I look like that when I'm in goal. Boom. So Bach says he's a bit skeptical of the Sevilla reporters. Yeah, and that's kind of what I said to start. Like most of the rumors are strictly just from Sevilla outlets. I think there were 3 separate ones. Indy Kayla said something, but all Indy Kayla said that there are reports that this is happening, and I'm sure that Indy Kayla was just referring to the reports from Sevilla. So, on Baleba, though, I see Brighton really, really trying to keep hold of him, really, really trying to preserve the value, similar to what we saw from Real Betis last season. They announced him as their man of the match on the weekend, despite, I mean, again, he wasn't poor, but it was not like he did a whole lot man of the match worthy, if that makes sense. But they got to make sure he gets man of the match. You remember when Betis were pulling this shit with Anthony? I mean, he wasn't bad, but I don't think you believe it was man of the match worthy. I see you, Brighton. I see what you're trying to do. I see right through it. It's the oldest trick in the book. So we'll see there what happens there. What are you guys saying in the chat? Well, we'll get to that point. So I saw that Lukaku was injured. Did anybody see that? He's got like a quad issue. It might require surgery. Might be out like 3 or 4 months, I saw. Maybe Napoli could make a late swoop for Hojlund, or maybe even come back for Garnacho to help bolster their attack while Lukaku is out. wouldn't be the worst move in the world. A little reunion with Scotty McTominay. What do you guys say? Box says can't stand Brighton, dude. Hate him or love him, man. They know how to identify players and they know how to flip them for profit, man. That's remember when Dortmund used to do that, Southampton used to do that kind of shit all the time. Like we need to just go poach their freaking recruitment team and just in their scouts and just let them just tell them do what you got to do, man. Because I don't want to flip the next Caicedo. I want to have the next Caicedo. I want to have the next Baleba. Look at whoever Brighton are looking at to replace Baleba and go get that player. Lucky says get Burnley, Everton, West Ham relegation. Yeah, I got thoughts on that. We'll obviously do our season prediction and our transfer window rating in a couple weeks. So it's actually a little less than that. It's like a week and a half almost. So be sure to come back for that one when Dylan and I come in here and give our ratings and everything for that. Bexy says Ugarte, when he came last season, was running after everything. He slowed off the pace, and that's his game. He needs to get back to that. It's a little, it's harder now because under Ten Hag, the setup was a little different, right? He's got to be able to do a little bit more now. He can't just do that. He looked awful in preseason. Wasn't getting picked towards the end of last season, so I'm not sure what the plan was. Was that Amorim resting him? Was it not the right competition? Was he just doesn't rate him, sending a message to the board like I need midfielders? I don't know. Anyone can tell me, but I do think that not having him against Spurs was a factor because we needed some fight in that midfield because it was kind of a boring final personally, but Box says Garnacho refusing Bayern. That guy's advice so badly. Nuba says, why don't I just put in a bid on Baleba and see what happens? Isn't that what we did? Didn't we put in a pretty low ball offer and it was just flat out rejected? The problem is Brighton don't want to sell. They're not giving us a price. So it's kind of like buying a house. When you buy a house, you don't get to go like do this back and forth. All your back and forth is on paper. You get your appraisals, you get your comps, you get your asking price, you get all that stuff. And you put in an offer, but you don't know if it's accepted or not until you get the response to the offer. And none of it is done, face to face, in a room or on phone even. It's just put in the offer and see what happens kind of a thing. And that's the way Brighton are doing it right now. Newcastle told Liverpool Isak's not for sale. Yeah, you can always send a bid, but Lexi says United had Baleba scouts on him before Brighton signed him. Yeah, we just don't really seem to. We did this with Caicedo. We didn't pull the trigger on Caicedo. We didn't pull the trigger on Declan Rice under Ollie, if you guys remember that What If episode, because we thought they were too young. And it's just, if you have to take a risk at some point, you have to trust your scouts and stuff at some point. Now, the problem is the scouts are the ones saying those things. So maybe we just need new scouts. I don't know, man. Bexy says, do you think Amorim is more no-nonsense than Erik ten Hag? I think he's probably a little bit more, but at the same time, a little less, just I think because of his personality. Like two teachers, for instance, can say the exact same thing, but just based on their personalities, it can be received a totally different way, if you guys kind of know what I mean. Like one teacher just has one of those personalities who you're like, okay, you don't like what they're cool about it or they're easily relatable or personable. Now, it's funny because I've heard from journalists that Ten Hag's actually quite funny and personable, but maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just he just has one of those personalities. I don't know, man, but if we remember from Ten Hag's pressers, it's just that's if that's what the players are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, I can see definitely where there's a bit of a disconnect there. Danny says Brighton would sell for 110 million, but we were never serious. All bollocks to keep fans thinking. Well, I think we are serious. We just don't want to spend what they're asking, unfortunately. I don't think anybody would want to spend what they're asking. I guarantee if City were informed me, they'd get them for like 60 million because City always seem to get everybody for 60 million. It's 60 million on paper, and then it's another 60 in a brown envelope slid underneath the door over there at Brighton. But what you gonna do? Danny thinks 100 million would land Baleba. I mean, if we could sell Garnacho, I think that definitely helps us. If we can get rid of Sancho, I think that definitely helps us. If Antony, if Malacia go, I think that definitely helps us. The question is, again, do you spend all that money on one player or do you want to get a keeper? I still think I go back and forth on if I want a keeper or if I want a center midfielder right now. Let's say you only get one position left to fill. What are you guys saying in this chat? So far, 78% of you think Sancho is the bigger dick. So, all right, we'll end that one. I'll put it in the chat. Only one position signed this. Only one player. You only get one player for the rest of the summer. We'll put goalkeeper and we'll put CM. So you guys let me know what you think there. Box says, yeah, this market Baleba is 100 million, but it's crazy when you think about it. Roy Keane must be Roy Keane in his prime would be easily be worth like Neymar to PSG money, like hands down, easily worth that. Goal fielder, I like that. Which Bilbao player are you talking about there, Lucky? Let me know. Let me know. Nubis thinks Keno is a 6. Dude, Keno was one of the best box-to-box midfielders that you'll ever see in the Premier League in the mid-90s, man. People like to think that because he was all action, all attitude, that he was this defensive-minded 6. Now, Keno was a box-to-box, man. He scored a lot of really good goals for us. He had a wicked shot on him. He was very good. Yeah, I put in the poll in the chat. You only get one player the rest of the summer. Which position you signing, goalkeeper or center midfielder? Y'all let me know. Let me know what you think, because we're going to move on a little bit to midfielders. Because sticking with midfielders, hold on, let me bring up the right thing here. Where is this at? Oh, I forgot to add it, so never mind. Sticking with midfielders, Fabrizio had a little bit of an update this afternoon on Adrien Rabiot, if you guys saw this. So apparently Adrien Rabiot is free to leave Olympique Marseille, will be offered to Manchester United and many other clubs this summer as a midfield opportunity for around 15 to 20 million euros was the price that I saw. And I think, what does that translate to? 13 million to 17 million pounds. I know, 2023 called, they want their transfer rumor back, right? Like Adrien Rabiot. If you guys remember, I was all in for Rabiot when he was a free agent a couple years back, but I'm over it now. Like it's too late. Ship has sailed. For that money, for what, 13 million to 17 million pounds. For this money, you could have gotten a Lennon Miller. You could go get a Hayden Hackney. There are options out there. You don't need to do this on Overhill Rabiot. This is Casemiro all over again, albeit for less money. But again, I'm not dealing. It has nothing to do with his agent or whatever. That was a very, very long time ago, and he's been fine since. It has everything to do with the fact that he's no longer free. He wants a lot of money, and he's like, what, 32 now? Like, nope, too late, bud. Sorry, you had your chance. You didn't want it. We could have had it all. So I'm over that. What do you guys think about Rabiot, though? Do you like him? Bexy says, what do you think Erik ten Hag's thought process with his signings? Did he underestimate the Premier League? I think, yeah, I question Ten Hag's talent identification when it came to guys like Malacia, for instance, who I was never convinced about. Antony, I get to an extent, because if you guys ever watched Ajax on when Ten Hag was there, Antony was an absolute baller, like baller. He was splitting. He had to be triple mark, and he was still splitting his defenders and getting through in the box. Like Antony was a baller, but he also it never translated. He got found out early, realized in the Premier League, like people weren't just going to let you do that. They were just going to absolute muller you. And he's not the quickest. And so it is what it is. We shouldn't have spent what we spent on Antony. I think that was absolutely ridiculous. It's not Ten Hag's fault, though. But I do think his talent identification was a little hard. I don't necessarily go in too harshly on Ten Hag for signing previous players, because loads of managers do that. Like, how many clubs has Nemanja Matic followed Jose Mourinho to in his career? Managers do it all over the place. That's nothing new under the sun. It just is what it is. So, but I do think his talent identification was a bit off. And the problem was Ten Hag wanted that power, and it just wasn't going to work, I don't think. So Danny says, with Onana or Bindier in goal, forget about any expectations. What are you guys saying so far? 57% of you say goalkeeper. That's where I'm at right now. We need a goalkeeper, man. Sen Lamens could have been in here all now doing this. And I honestly got to think, if we had Sen Lamens in goal on Sunday, that we don't concede that corner. Like, we just don't. I would feel 10 times more confident trying to defend balls into the box, either on set pieces or from open play, with someone like Sen Lamens in goal, because you saw the numbers for his crosses and stuff. Like, the guy's just a proper 90s midfielder. Just comes off, doesn't care who's in front of him. I'm getting elbows and arms and chest and everything. Don't care if it's my team, other team, referee, tea lady. They're getting just destroyed because I'm stopping this ball. I don't care. Vandy says proper plunker Rabiot. He was at one point. He's to be fair, he has not had any issues. He's got his head down. He's too old now. So Fox says Rabiot, yes, in about 2019. Yeah, when he was available as a free, yeah, I would have definitely done it. So, but I think it's just too late now. Andreas says he would struggle massively with tempo in the Prem. He struggled in Serie A. Big up, Andreas. Welcome back. Yeah, I think I'm past the Rabiot train. I think that ship has sailed a while ago, but it was mentioned, so I thought I'd throw it out there for y'all. Looks like Sancho to Roma could be off. Surprise, surprise. So last week, remember, we got the reports that Roma had a bid accepted by United. So the club accepted the bid. I think it was like 20 million. But all that remained at that time was for Sancho to accept. And it does not look like he wanted to accept. Sounds like he's rejected the move, according to Romano. He says Sancho's agent has also informed Roma of their decision not to accept the proposal. Sancho wants to consider other clubs' proposals, and AS Roma will now look at different options. United hope for similar proposals to follow around £20 million as they were ready to accept. So Sancho digging in his heels, thinks for some reason, I don't know what magical club he thinks is going to come back. Does he think Juve are going to come back in for him? It sounded like he wanted to go. I don't know who else. Maybe Bayern. If Bayern put a bid in for Garnacho, you'd have to think they definitely maybe put a bid in for Sancho, right? He excelled in the Bundesliga, and like he seems like he'd be a perfect fit for them on that left hand side because he's not Austin Olise. He and Coman could fight it out for a spot. I forget who else they have. Nabry's probably in there. I think Muller's done, right? So isn't Muller in the MLS now? Roma have also signed Leon Bailey, though, who, remember, it wasn't from reports anyway, it wasn't a Sancho or Bailey for Roma. They wanted both. So they were trying to basically just overhaul their attacking situation. According to Ben Jacobs, Sancho seems to think other offers will come in the next few weeks as the transfer window winds down. Maybe clubs think that United will take a discount offer because it's so late in the window. And we want to do more business. I think maybe it's just hard right now. But you remember what I said, though, about humility and self-awareness. I mean, read the room, Jaden. Read the room. I think we can all agree at this point that Sancho just doesn't want to be a footballer. I think Dylan, you guys know Dylan. I think Dylan said it best when he sent me this text yesterday. I laughed out loud when I saw this because just the bluntness of it had me dying. I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a little bit. Hopefully Dylan's watching right now. Let's see what y'all are saying here. Welcome, More. Good to see a new face. Big up, More. Make sure if you're new, you subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 3K. But he says Rabiot plays a 10, not a 6 or an 8 for Marseille. I haven't watched any of him at Marseille, but when he was at Juve, when he was at PSG, he was definitely an 8 or a 6. So if he's not playing in that role anymore, then he's only been doing that for a season ago. But that's pretty much his career. He's been as an 8 or a 6, either like that left-sided 8, or he's often played in a deeper role as well. He can do it. I think he's definitely more of that box-to-box style. But big up, More. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Good to see a new face. Danny says, knew it. Bexy says, Bayern, to be fair, had a good goal distribution on Sunday. He's better than Onana. Onana scares the crap out of me. It's funny, neither of them are good at the basic, the important part of being a goalkeeper, right? Like stopping shots, commanding your box. Neither of them are good at that. And that's really like your only thing you have to do as a goalkeeper. Being good with your feet is a bonus, right? I don't need you to do anything other than things. Box says, surely Roma aren't that desperate. I mean, 20 million doesn't seem desperate to me. So Nuba says, Sancho doesn't want to go. Sancho wants to screw United and leave for free next summer. He has this hatred towards United, and now he's seeking for revenge so that United won't get any money. Didn't he do like an interview, though, saying like he likes United, he's nothing, like there's no bad feelings or anything? Like his PR people are definitely, I don't know if he's paying him too much or he's not paying enough. You guys let me know. But you guys voted that his attitude and his behavior have been the bigger disappointment between him and Garnacho. So the eyes have it at that point. But again, Dylan said it best when he sent me this text yesterday. It's so succinct and it speaks volumes in its brevity. That's all I'm gonna say. 4 words, man. Bexy says the problem with Sancho is the previous United management team. The wages are wild. It goes back to that, yeah. And I've said that many times, and I'll say it again. The signing of Sancho, the desperation that it showed from us to chase him for that long, to pay what we paid, and then to pay him what we're paying him, it only was going to go 2 ways. And unfortunately, it's going the negative of those ways. He was either going to do well, and in 2 years, you were going to have to up his contract from where he was already at. What was that, like 250, 300K? And then we're screwed, even worse than we know. Or he's going to do poorly like he has done, and we're stuck with him. We'll never get our money back, which we're never going to get in the first place. And he's just sitting here taking a wage. It's horrible. The previous management team what they've done has been just criminal. And it's left every single manager in the last couple of years just struggling to strengthen the squad properly in their image because we can't get rid of players. We've still got Van Gaal players. We had De Gea still, and up until recently, I'm not trying to bash De Gea. I'm just saying this is the point. Like, got a Frankenstein squad still, and we're just now starting to kind of see people, and most of them leave for free, so we don't get to see any money for them. We just lost 3 players for free in the summer. We lost a couple more the summer prior to that. Like, it's awful, man. We're paying guys like De Gea and Sancho and Pogba literally like 300 G's a week, and they're just right up until the day they walk for free. That's literally what we're doing. So Andrea says rumors are saying that Sancho wants to rest. Dude, that's bullshit. Like, he can go rot in the rest he's in, or we can just tell him, like, listen, you're not welcome anywhere on the club grounds anymore. Surely even just the social media stuff that he was pulling, surely that's got to be grounds for, like, breach of contract, right? Like, you can't bash the club like that in public. That's not okay. So I feel like that would be something. Bach says, who is my most hated ex-current United player? Oh, man. I don't like to dwell on that kind of stuff. Even people will say Di Maria, like, I liked the signing of Di Maria. Now, what he did after when he was at PSG, that bugged me, but you see that from everybody, so it is what it is. I don't really have a hated player personally. I'm trying to think now off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't really have people that I hate in terms of United. So it's a different question, but y'all can answer box if you want. I guess I don't really feel now. I have rival players that I can't stand. Like, I hate David Luiz. He's such a little bitch. I can't stand Mo Salah because I think that he's also a whiny little bitch. I didn't like Arjen Robben because he was a diving little bitch. There are some players like that I can't stand, but Nubis says, don't judge a person by his words, but by his action. If he's not hatred towards United, he would leave by now. And even like simpler Nubis, if he didn't hate us, then he wouldn't have done, half the stuff that he done, like with social media and stuff. Like, just don't do that, man. Like, it's so much easier just to be quiet, man. But it sounds like Bach says Tevez. I mean, I don't hate Tevez. I just don't like him all that much. I mean, Luis Suarez, another one I can't stand. Luis Suarez is probably top of my list. John Terry's up there as well. Yeah, Tevez. I love Tevez when he was here, and choosing City. Yeah, it's a little bit of a dick move, but I don't feel hatred, I guess. Let's see. Nubis is going with Di Maria. I mean, the hatred I had towards Di Maria was softened a little bit just by a little bit of the vindication for when Ashley Young just absolutely destroyed him in Champions League. So that's Ashley Young. I always got time for Ashley Young simply because of that alone. That was freaking awesome. Oh, and then knocking them out of the Champions League always does soften that a little bit. So you kind of get a little bit something back from that. So you kind of you shake hands and you move on at that point. But it is what it is. The problem with Di Maria is that he and his wife just keep talking shit about United since. So, rent free, right? I'm going to take Dylan's comment off the screen. Don't want to get in trouble for slander. I think Besiktas are still in the race for Sancho. I think the Turkish transfer window is still open until like mid-December. Mid-September. Mid-December, that'd be great. Mid-September for some reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know why transfer windows just universally can't just be open from the day after like the final competitive club match of the season until the day before the season starts. Like I just don't get it, but whatever, man. It is I think I just don't like that the transfer window is open after the season starts. I think that's just dumb. It causes all sorts of problems, but especially when you've got leagues like the Turkish league whose transfer windows are open almost 2 weeks after ours closes. It's really annoying. So, um, let's see. Nuba says Suarez biting people is the craziest thing. Not once, not twice, but 3 times Suarez is biting people. Just a racist, bitey little bastard, man. Suarez. Bex loses a couple cool points for bringing him to Inter Miami, by the way. Justin and I were talking about that the other week. Bex does lose a couple cool points for that, but Inter Miami is basically Timu Barcelona these days anyway, right? So I think it is what it is. Costa, Thomas Duro, welcome. I always hated Diego Costa. Diego Costa, I know he didn't really bug me for anything he did to United. It was just the way he was as a player. Sometimes it's just like you're not that good, bro. Like I don't know why you're getting all aggro with everybody. And the dude has probably looked 45 since he was about 2 years old. He just looks like he's literally someone's dad. I just picture him with like a tucked in polo and like a cell phone clip through his belt. No offense if anyone's rocking a cell phone belt clip. I'm sure it looks amazing on you, but Diego Costa just always looks super old. Roman Reboir, welcome to the channel. I watch Sevilla often. If you think Ugarte is bad, wait till you see him. You're talking about Agume? Interesting. Well, welcome to the channel. It's good to have a little bit of insight on that. Let us know what you think about Agume, why you think that way. Bexy says, an objective question. What happens if United lose to Fulham on Sunday? What happens if we lose is, we lose to Fulham. It's 2 matches into the season. I'm not, you won't see me freak out. I'm sure some people will freak out. It's going to be the manner of a loss. I don't think we'll lose, but I think, again, like we saw in the FA Cup, it could be a midfield issue. Now, Fulham, again, they do like to get wide. They do like to overload those wide areas. So whoever plays the wingbacks is going to need to be on. I don't think that's a game for Ahmad unless he starts in one of the 10s personally, because we saw defensively Ahmad is not his natural position. He was playing people on side. He wasn't really pressing anyone. It's not his thing. So I don't know if I'd want to start Dallo, but then again, there's a problem there now. Who do you start? And so it's difficult. It's a difficult one, but we'll talk more about that in the match preview later on in the week because we do have that Sunday. I'm going to have some guests over here. We're going to be Dylan, maybe Justin. I invited a couple of people going to hang out and watch that match. So that'll be fun. Box says Diego Costa is one of Chelsea's best center forwards the last 25 years. He just, the way he was playing, he was always just causing problems. And so again, if it was something more personal towards United, I'd probably have a little bit more of it. But David Luiz, I can't get over him faking a foul and then looking at the crowd and smiling. That image will always be burned in my mind when I think of David Luiz. That's why I don't like him. Arjen Robben, I just don't like because he's just a floppy little drama queen. Had nothing to do with United. I just don't like him, the way he plays football. So let's see. Box would be worried if we start with 2 defeats. Yeah, I mean, no one likes to lose. I'm not happy with losing. Again, if we keep playing the way we played against Arsenal, I mean, we literally were the better side against Arsenal. They only scored from a fluky corner. We kept Saka quiet. We kept Odegaard quiet. We were just destroying them left and right. We kept their defense on their back foot most of the match. If we could play like that against Arsenal, I'm not going to be too. I'm not saying I'm going to think we're going to win every single game, but I'm not going to be too worried if we keep playing like that. And that's the key term. And this was even without some of the other players that we like, without the Leachas and stuff. And so I'm not going to worry too much personally. Roman says he does less ball winning and more missed passes against slow technical Spanish midfielders. No, imagine him in the Premier League. Well, it's good to know. I appreciate the insight. We will file that away for the future, but we like to have the new faces and we love to get insight from other clubs and other leagues. So big up, Roman. Good to have a new friendly face and good to have a bit of that perspective as well. So always appreciate that. You're always welcome here, my friend. Gary, welcome back, Gary. Long time no see. We're just bashing Sancho, so you got here just in time. Should I put Dylan's text back up for anyone who's new to the stream? Because every time I see it, it just makes me laugh, dude. Big up Dylan for just giving us the humor today. Danny says, I hope we can do that consistently. Yeah, that's the hope. The preseason has shown that even guys like, look at what it did to Dorgu. Dorgu has been one of our best players all summer. And again, doing so well. Cunha and Buemo have already hit the ground running. Even Shesko, I mean, he's only on the pitch for 30 minutes, so you're obviously not going to say a lot, but looked well. He's fighting for things in the box. He's huge. He's using his size well. He's using his movement well. Staying on his feet, importantly. I thought that and I feel like, I honestly got to think if we would have kept playing for another 5 minutes, we would have equalized for sure. And if maybe Ugarte, if that had been Manu on the pitch and not Ugarte, maybe we would have done something better with that little spell of possession. But what you gonna do, man? Bexy says, would you start Shesko on Sunday? Absolutely, I would start Shesko. The problem is, who do you take off the pitch? Because that's a difficult question, because, and we'll talk more about this on the weekend or towards as we get close to the weekend, because it's difficult. Because Mount, I thought, looked good. I thought Casemiro had a good game. I thought Bruno, probably, like I said after the match round, Bruno is probably our worst player, but I still wouldn't bench him. And I know people are going to say that I'm not Bruno FC, but again, it's more about what he does with the ball than anything. But let's see. Gary says, it's like I have a sixth sense when Sancho is being spoken about. Yeah. Sancho I don't know. He's got that main character syndrome, and he just won't go away, man. Zero self-awareness, zero humility. Jack Grealish is off at Everton now. Like, Jack Grealish at least shown, like, I want to go play, even if it's for Everton. No offense to Everton, but let's just go do it. So it is what it is. I actually applied for a job at Everton the other day. I doubt I'll get it. I don't know why I apply for these jobs. I don't live in England. They're going to take one look at where my address is and be like, what is this kid doing? Kid. I'm not a kid. Yeah, I don't know why. So Box says, Ugarte got confused at one point and played a back pass. Fed an Arsenal player in. Yeah, Ugarte's not the guy you want as a deep-lying playmaker. He struggles there. And again, that's why I wonder what his future looks like, because he's got to have more strings to his bow. If you want to just win the midfield battle, if you want to win that ball back, if you want to disrupt the midfield tempo of the opposition, yeah, throw Ugarte in there, let him cause problems, let him win tackles, let him push people around. I don't care. Like, that's fine. But eventually he's going to get the ball, and you have to be able to do something with it. And we saw in preseason, we saw on Sunday, we've seen other periods of time where he's just not good at that. He's shown like brief little flashes here and there of some press resistance and some space creation for himself, but it's not what he's known for. And so Nubis says, let Mount play center midfield. Interesting talk, man. Interesting. Yeah, Gary, Bruno's definitely not an 8, and that's doesn't mean he's bad, but again, it is what it is. Roman says, I don't think we were good attacking sense due to tactics and patterns of play. It was more individual qualities, Cunha and Bumo and Arsenal having a stinker. I mean, give us a little bit of credit there personally. We looked at the match reaction, like literally every stat bar the distance run and the sprints, we were better. We had more shots. We had like 22 shots, 15 shots from inside the box. Like, we were the better side in almost every facet of play. We just for some reason still can't defend a corner. We've struggled with that for years. Before Amorim, before Ten Hag, we struggle with balls in the box. We just have. And we've got to do better at that. We got to get people that are fighting. I mean, Binder's got to do better. He was being fouled. Mount was being fouled. Like, it happens. But I thought we were very good. I thought that, and I said it earlier, like, there were moments when Cunha and Bumo would drop central. They would occupy defenders. Bruno would move up to occupy that free space, and then De Ligt would move up to form a pivot with Casemiro. That's kind of what Amorim wants right now. We heard that in an interview a couple of weeks ago, I believe. And so the system's doing stuff, and I think that it's working. But we'll see. It's only been one match. Nubis says, Ugarte has no future under Amorim. He'll be sold next summer. He played 2 seasons at Sporting, didn't win anything major. Yeah, and Amorim let him go to PSG, replaced him with Morten Hjulmand, and the rest is history. And Hjulmand can do a little bit more on the ball. Maybe that's Ugarte's issue, like we've said. Maybe he's just too one-dimensional. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Bexy says, couldn't Mount plays a 6? He could. Obviously we'll do a starting 11 when we do the match preview, and you guys will get your chance to let me know. So we still got some transfer news to go over today, though. So make sure you're hitting that like button, y'all. We got 13 in here now, at least from what I can see. Make sure I want to see 13 likes. There were 20 in here a minute ago. Box says, we were overcooking it in the second half, trying to walk the ball in the net, overpassing, not doing a simple cutback. Yeah, and that was one of the things I was critical of is, especially in like those last 10, 15 minutes, whenever Maguire comes on the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, you know what's going to happen, especially if we're chasing a goal. Maguire's going to stay up high. Bruno is going to drop as like the deepest midfielder, and we're going to constantly just put ball in the box, cycle it back to Bruno, and reset and try it all over again. That's just what we now. Obviously, it got us a lot of wins or a lot of results last year, but I need to see more creativity there, more tactical stuff there. So we'll see if Amorim's going to drop or not, but I'm going to take this off the screen now, even though it is funny. Dylan, see, so funny. So let's move on to another winger, Garnacho. So I saw that Ben Doak moved to Bournemouth from Liverpool for like 25 million now. 25 million pounds for Ben Doak is a bit ridiculous, in my opinion. This is why we're calling Chelsea's 25 million valuation of Garnacho a complete piss take, by the way. Now, reportedly, talks are super advanced between Chelsea and United for Garnacho. Garnacho reportedly only wants to move to Chelsea. 25 million, though, is just, come on, just don't even answer the phone at that point. I mean, Chelsea want him on a cheap. We're not going to lose him for cheap. Who's going to blink first is basically going to be the question here. Romano adds that, again, so one of you guys pointed out, Garnacho turned down a move to Bayern Munich in the last couple of days. That was probably the stupidest thing you ever could have done. You could have been playing for Bayern Munich, probably winning a title. You're going to win a league title most likely, have a really good chance of winning Champions League, even though you've got Vincent Kompany as your manager. Or you can go win, Conference League with Chelsea. Like, come on. 25 million is just not good enough. They did a 90 million package for Michailo Mudryk a couple years back. They spent 55 million on Gittins. Like 25 million, get fucked. Not gonna happen. Sorry, not gonna happen. Box says League Cup is a major trophy. Yeah, FA Cup too. So there's that. Let's see. Box says Spurs won a trophy once Kane left. Doesn't mean they're better off without him. No, it's true. They don't. But everyone's leaving now, man. It's just like a whole new thing with Spurs. Sonny left, Kane left. I feel like I think Romero just signed a new deal. So cool. A lot more uncalled handballs in the box for the next 5 years for them. So cool. But yeah, 25 million, absolute piss take. Just no matter where you slice it, that's not even going to me. That doesn't even get you in the room, let alone a seat at the table. So this one could go to later on. But again, they want to give us like 40, 45 and we get 25% sell-on clause in the future. Cool. Take it. Just get him out of here. If it's what's preventing us from doing more business in the summer, just get it done. Make sure you take care of yourself. So maybe in a couple of years when he does ultimately go to a Bayern Munich or something we're taken care of, fine, get it done. But 25 million, that's just ridiculous. Now, we can't talk because we put in a low ball for Baleba. So it's all part of it. But again, Chelsea have more evidence and more history of showing what they're willing to pay for wingers, even those who don't come from the Premier League as well. And so you have to start it from there. I mean, Mudryk had barely 24 first team appearances under his belt when they paid that much. Like first team appearances, period, in football. Like, unfortunately, Chelsea, you're kind of shooting themselves in the foot there. So it's a little bit ridiculous. What are y'all saying here? Box says, I'm not a fan of Ugarte, but I don't think you can say him leaving meant Sporting all of a sudden become successful. I don't think anybody said that, personally. All I said was Amorim brought in Hojlund to replace him, and Hojlund's just got a little bit more to him than Ugarte does. Now, at Lecce, Hojlund was what Ugarte is, all defense, just destroyer. But Amorim kind of added a couple strings to his bow. He's become more of a leader. He's added more ball progression to his game, a little more composure, which is good coaching, good management. And so everyone's going to look at correlation and see causation. I'm not like that. All I've said is Holman just is a better player, and I still think that. So Boxy says, hasn't Amorim got a year left? Surely soon they will negotiate a new contract if he ticks a few boxes. Well, what would ticking a few boxes look like for you as far as Amorim goes, Bexy? Couple wins, a string of wins, maybe blooding a few noses between. We got Arsenal, we got City, we got Liverpool, we got Chelsea coming up soon, right? Maybe getting a decent amount of points from those results. I mean, what's it going to take? We asked you guys a couple weeks ago when it came to long-term managers, what do you need to see from a manager to think that this guy could be here for 10, 20 years? Because you don't see that anymore. So it is what it is. Gary, big up Gary, absolute legend, always popping up with the super chats. Big up Gary. What do we got here? Says Romero referred to Spurs as the best club in the world. Come on, bro. Even the Spurs fans know you're talking shit, right? It's so funny when like Spurs fans, like, they know they're not good, right? Like I know there's probably not any Spurs fans, but like X's like expressions, like he knows like they'll get hyped over the wins, right? And probably they're still probably buzzing over the Europa League because it's probably the only trophy that any of the current Spurs fans are ever going to see their club lift. But and I'm sure going to the new stadium is a good day out, but I mean, really, I mean, they are kind of like just like almost like Newcastle. Like, we're just happy to be here, guys. Like, they just want to see at the big kids table. Spurs are the reason it's called the Big Six and no longer the top four. But it is unfortunate that their own fans, at least some of them, have a bit of self-awareness. I mean, they're nowhere near as bad as Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans are just the absolute worst. I can't stand Arsenal fans. I don't watch a lot of them. When I do, there's the delusion is just next level. Like, I wish I could strap like a pulse oximeter and some sort of a brain tool and measure them and study them for my own professional purposes, and just see like what is going on here. There are so many delusions of grandeur. There is so much denial. There is so much just coping and cognitive dissonance and flip-flop. Like, we call that labile when you go from one extreme to the next emotionally in like this. Like, and this is what you see from Arsenal fans, man. So, but big up, Gary, man. You're a legend, dude. Love it. Lucky's already getting score predictions. We'll come back for the match preview, Lucky. I forgot Xerxes. Xerxes was on the bench, man. This is a good problem to have now. We're starting to see a little bit better quality and depth, right? Which we haven't seen in a while. I'm not saying that everyone is good enough for the starting 11, but it is a good problem to have now that I think the fact that many of us are even like, let's drop the midfielder who's literally been our best player and one of the best players in the Premier League since he signed. Like, that's a good problem to have. Now, granted, it's probably because a lot of us don't, he had a shit game, but it is what it is, man. Bexy says, if Amorim gets to Crimbo, what's Crimbo in the top six? I think that's enough. Top six is ambitious. If we get top six, that's, to me, that's way ahead of what we'll talk about our predictions towards the end of the window. So Box says, I don't think there's any good opposition fan bases. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Liverpool fans I can't stand because they always like to downplay their chances. Literally every match week, they're like, "Oh, I don't see us winning." They're just doing it on purpose. Even their players, they had like a league and a Champions League, and they all, like, even guys like Trent and freaking Andrew Robinson just started becoming just the most insufferable little bell ends. Man, I couldn't stand it. Man, and the denial there, dude. The pedestal that they put Jurgen Klopp on, I'll never understand it. So Roman says, for me, Amorim has to finish top 5 and plays a good football and will win games by merit. Stops picking 6 defensive players every game. Interesting. I mean, is he playing 6 defense? I mean, there are going to be times where we do sit in more of a 5, and there are going to be times when it's not like that. I don't think Dorgu is both, but Dorgu has shown he can attack, but he can show that he can get back and help out. Ahmad's definitely more of an attacking-minded player. Dallo, I don't know, his brain is barely a footballer brain most of the time. He has no end product. He doesn't close down the opposition attacker. He can pump up the crowd every now and then. That's basically what Dallo does. And he's got a step over. Cool. I don't care about step overs. Let's see. Box doesn't like Barca fans. I don't know too many Barca fans personally, which is interesting because you'd think here in America, Justin and I used to play a game when we watch matches or when we go to like Detroit City matches. It'd almost be like a drinking game, like when you see, or like when we're watching. The best game to play is when you're watching a match on TV that's not Barcelona and not Real Madrid, and see how many Barcelona jerseys or Real Madrid jerseys you can spot in the crowd. That's always a fun one. Oh, Christmas there. I didn't know what Crimbo meant. If you were like from a different country and that's like the equivalent of like Krampus or something, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Like he says, we're going to aim, score more goals and not worry. Yeah, I mean, top 7 says Lucky. It's interesting. Dylan and I will have our predictions, so we'll do that show in a couple weeks. So Let's talk about Rasmus Hojlund for a second, you guys. Make sure you liking the video. Make sure you subscribe. And what are you guys saying in this poll? 19 votes. 68% of you would pick a goalkeeper if you only signed one player this summer. So, all right, the eyes have it there. So we got some actual hard evidence that AC Milan are indeed looking at Rasmus Hojlund. This is coming from AC Milan's sporting director, Eli Tare. He recently commented on this. He says, Hojlund is a good option for us. We're evaluating him these days, but the transfer market is unpredictable. We know we have to intervene in that position, and they must be players who can give something extra to this group. A striker has to arrive, is what he had to say. Now, Napoli could come back in for him because they are lost Lukaku. AC Milan have been rumored to be interested in him for a couple weeks now. The Athletic also claims that Atalanta are even considering bringing Hojlund back to the club where he pretty much sort of broke onto the scene. There's a club we bought him from, the club where he kind of made a name for himself a little bit. So a couple clubs in Serie A definitely interested in bringing Rasmus Hojlund back. I think maybe Serie A is probably a much better fit for him than United because maybe the league is a little slower. His pace and his power can't exploit that. That's basically what he did at Atlanta. I think people forget sometimes that Hojlund didn't really have a whole lot of first team appearances under his belt when we signed him. And at Atlanta, when you're a young player who's basically your best attributes are pace and power, that's what he did. He was basically this counter-attacking striker. He didn't really learn or was coached a whole lot of tactical know-how. And so he struggled when we had to slow things down, similar to like what we've seen from Marcus Rashford. So I do think it's just best maybe if he moves on a little bit. Box says Atalanta can have him for 70 million. The 70 million they have from selling Retegui. I forgot that he left. He didn't go to the Saudi league. That's messed up, dude. That he went to the Saudi league. Like he says, the Serie A clubs are favorites. I mean, if we can get some money for Hojlund, if we can get Garnacho out of it, we can get Sancho out of here. Garnacho and Sancho is a good chunk of change. Still got Anthony. Still got Malacia as well. I think that would be the aim. Harry Amos potentially going on loan as well. We need to get some players out of here. That was your guys' biggest thing going into the summer was we need to clear the deadwood. We haven't officially done it yet. Rashford's gone, yes, but he's not fully gone until he's gone. So, yeah, Gary Lukaku, I think it was a quad injury. I think he's going to be out. He could need surgery and he could be out a couple months. So, Napoli definitely in need of a striker. And so we'll see what happens. Roman says, the thing is, though, he shot us in the foot this transfer window by telling the board that we need Bruno, not take the 100 million for him, knowing that he won't fit the system. And again, if Amorim sees something in Bruno that makes him think he fits the system, then we can't back Amorim and then question all the decisions that we don't agree with and kind of use those as forever sticks to beat him with. Again, I've said many times in the channel that managers are going to live or die by these sort of decisions. Team selection. I think team selection last season was definitely Amorim's biggest Achilles heel. Subs were wrong. Team selection at times was wrong. He was tinkering with the starting 11 too wrong. It shouldn't take that long to figure out your best 11, play them, get through the season, and then figure it out in preseason. He's got some good players. Bruno is definitely there to be a deep playmaker and to advance a little bit in certain pockets in midfield when the space opens up with the movement of Cooney and Mbumo now. And then that allows De Ligt to move up next to Casemiro. But at the same time, it's when it came to Bruno, you guys remember in the summer when we were talking about the Saudi thing, would I keep him? Yep. Would I sell him? Yep. I would have done both. It is what it is. He's here now. At some point we're gonna have to move on. We could still get 100 million for Bruno in the next summer. Like, it's still a thing if a Saudi club wants him. Like, there's no problem there. I'm never worried about not getting a lot of money for Bruno if he decides he wants to go to the Saudi league, because even if he's in his 33, 34, you could probably still make your money back on him. So I'm not ever worried about that. Would it have been helpful this summer? Yeah, absolutely. But I think that unless you can get someone who can do what he does in a deep position, you're going to notice that he's not there because we don't have anyone else who can do a lot of the things that he can do. He literally has led the league in chances created all but like one of the last 5 seasons. And so he's easily our best player. So it is what it is. And like Brock says, it was Bruno's choice. Bruno didn't want to go to the side league. He wanted to stay and play. You have to respect that. We can't sit here and complain when players don't want to play and then complain when they do. Like, we can't have it both ways. And so I'm not accusing you of doing it wrong. I'm just saying fans in general, like we seem to go back and forth on ourselves a lot. So Bexy says Rashford is an absolute disgrace. No responsibility. Cunha. Oh yeah, Cunha is miles better than Rashford. Is that ever really in question? No. Buck says I'm more frustrated we don't have 100 million from selling Malaysia, Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, and Garnacho. Yeah, it really shouldn't have been this hard to get Betis to come back in for Anthony. It shouldn't have been this hard to get any money for Garnacho. He's young. He did really well last season. He's on low wages. He's in the Premier League. That one surprises me more than anything. Malaysia, we're never going to make our money back on him. We'll probably be lucky to get like 5-6 million for him. Rashford, I think I worry. Part of me worries that we're going to be stuck with him. He's not like he's lighting things up at Barcelona already. I think he missed a typical Rashford chance the other day. I don't really watch a whole lot of La Liga though, so but it's a bummer. And again, it's the wages. The wages are the issue, and it's 4 of these guys are wingers too. Like that says a lot. Four people in wingers, and we replaced them with 2 players. It does say quite a lot. So we will see. But let's do a little bit of Loan Watch, guys. Make sure you liking, make sure you subscribing. Radek Vitek. Let's talk about Radek Vitek for a second. So I think that we can all agree, and it looks like you guys pretty much feel the same in the poll, that goalkeeper should have been a priority. Goalkeeper is a priority. Onana is shit. Bindier is just not the level that we need. Heaton's older than me, and I'm old as shit. So could our problems be solved by a keeper that we already have on the books, though? Now, we've spoken about Radek Vitek so many times in the channel. We kept eye on him while he was on loan last year at BW Linz. But the guy is already flying for Bristol City. I know two matches in, but he's already flying for them. He's on loan there this season. We renewed his contract, so he's on a new contract. Man of the match this weekend in a 0-0 draw against Charlton Athletic, Radek Vitek. So made a couple, I think made like 3 or 4 saves as well. But he also sat down with Bristol Live to talk a little bit about just Bristol and his overall career ambitions. And he didn't really hide the fact that he wants to be United's number 1. He said, my plan is to be one day the number 1 at Manchester United. I don't know how long that's going to take for me or if I will ever be number 1, but I'm going to do my best to improve my abilities here, and we'll see the next step after the season or half. Could be back in January. Honestly, if we still have the same keeper issues, recall him. Pay whatever money it is. Recall him. Tell Onana and Binder to sit on the bench, and we'll play Vitek for the rest of the season. If we miss out on Sen Lamens, or if we don't go for Gianluigi Donnarumma, is it worth it to weather the storm of Onana and bring Vitek into the fold next summer? I wouldn't even wait that long personally. I think it's definitely worth it personally. You guys think we need a keeper? Vitek's already done so much. He was man of the match a handful of times for Linz last year. He was one of the best keepers in that league. He's already man of the match in his second match on loan in English football, and so it's a no-brainer for me, man. Seriously. What are you guys saying here? Any thoughts? Get your thoughts on Vitek here in the chat here. Dana says we should have done that in June. Preaching to the choir, man. You guys know that it's like I like Vitek a lot. We don't seem to do really well with our academy keepers at United. Johnstone, Joel Pereira. Who else did we let go of? Kovar as well. We just don't seem to keep them and to trust them, and we haven't done that with a lot of players like Alvaro. Another example of a player we probably should have kept and just trusted and kind of just embraced that and took the risk. We didn't. And I get it to an extent with the way that things have gone for managers these last decade or so. There's not a whole lot of room for these managers to feel like they can take risks, with the fact that none of them have lasted longer than like 2.5 seasons. I get it to an extent, the not wanting to take a risk and wanting to go for the known quantities, but at the same time, you probably get a lot more patience from fans if you would have just rolled the dice on Alvaro instead of going to get Sergio Reguilon or something. I mean, I think that says it all personally, but what are y'all saying here? Dean Henderson, that's the other one, Box. I knew there was one I was forgetting. I always forget about him. So Gary said he's already better than both our keepers. Well, that's not hard to do, man. You got an old lady and her husband live across the street. They're better than, we'll stick them and go. Heaton's better than Onana and Baidir at this rate, man. Like, it's freaking ridiculous, our goalkeeper situation. Why are our goalkeepers so bad? we bought two of them, and I don't understand. We spent what, like 60 million on Bayindir and Onana together, and neither one of them are worth even close to a third of that. Like, it's embarrassing, dude. Roman says Chelsea finished top four, won 2 trophies with Sancho. You can play good football with a bad goalkeeper, but not without a proper midfielder. Yeah, I mean, you can. I think that a good goalkeeper would help us in the situations that we tend to struggle with, which is defending these set pieces. There's the only way Arsenal could score again. There's a reason we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup last season against Spurs. We've conceded a lot of set piece goals. There was a point in time where a third of the goals we conceded, I want to say at a point in time last year, were from corners. We're shit at them. And a lot of it has to do with nobody attacking the ball, everybody just on the back foot, nobody trying to, and our goalkeeper just weak mentality and physically, like, not coming off the line. It's a simple thing to do, like, just come off and do that. But goalkeepers, man, they're just, and the problem too, and I've said this many times, and you're new to the channel, Roman, but there's I forget which book it's in, but one of these books behind me, if you can't tell, talks about this thing called the O principle, which says that your negatives as a player, they're multiplied. They're not just stacked up. They're multiplied because they impact your teammates. And so Onana's detriments, his kind of floppiness in goal, his inability to come off his line, his unsure hands in terms of palming these shots back into danger areas, that kind of stuff now takes away from his defenders, because now they can't do what they need to do because they're constantly worried about what Onana is going to do. And that means that the midfielders and the fullbacks can't do what they got to do because they might have to make up for the fact that the defenders have to make up for Onana. And then it's like Inception around here. And it's so bad. Onana's just bad. Like, he's just bad. Anyway, I've never had a game where I've come off and thinking, like, yep, we can keep Onana. Like, I was there for Brighton this past season when he, again, another instance where he just palmed the shot back into the middle of the box, and Brighton scored. I was there 2 seasons ago for Galatasaray when he and Casemiro got into that mix-up because Onana played that hospital nightmare pass to him and it led to a penalty. He's just bad, dude. He's just so bad. But we do need midfielders. We know that. Like, that's the problem is we have 5 in really almost like what's got Mount, Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte, Mainu. So we've got midfielders. Now, not all of them are excellent, but we have them. So again, it's a bloated squad in some ways as well. Box says we got top 2 with McFred. I'll let y'all fight it out in there. So Bexy says Onana is not a Premier League keeper. What happened to that Serbian keeper that we had on the books a few years back? Which Serbian keeper are you talking about? I'm trying to remember who you're talking about. If you're talking about the Vanya guy, he was on the books, but he was never allowed to even train because he couldn't get a work visa. And I think he just went to a Saudi club, I think, right? The guy who was at Torino. Gary says, how are we feeling about Lamens, happening or not? It's the only thing I've seen in the last couple weeks is that he's still someone that we like. That's it. Like, I wish that he would be someone that we'd sign, but I mean, I don't know why we can't see if they want Bayindir or somebody. We can do a little bit of an exchange. I just don't get why we can't do something like that personally. But what are you going to do? David Keita, welcome to the channel. This guy is not good enough to be decisive. Who are you talking about? Let me know what you mean by that. So, but again, if we miss out on Lamens and don't go for Donnarumma, and we're still stuck in the same situation last year where we've got Onana just gifting the opposition second chances to off their shots, or Bayindir. Like, you guys remember the Newcastle match last season with Bayindir? Like, or have you just completely blocked it out? I'd like to get a lobotomy and pinpoint that memory and just take a drill and just be done with it, but don't think that's possible. But it's goalkeeper is a worry. It was a worry for me going into the summer. You guys know that is definitely still a worry for me because we haven't done any better. But we'll see. We've still got a little bit time left. I'd like to think we can get at least one more player. You guys seem to think that if we can only get one, it should be a goalkeeper. I wholeheartedly agree. So, Roman says, that's a good point you're making. That's why we should trust VTech and call him back. I appreciate when people think I make good points. I don't feel like I do that very often. But again, if you're new to the channel, my aim is never to be like, I'm right, you're wrong, just because I've got the channel and I've got a ring light in front of me. This is just my opinion. I'm here for you guys. This is your guys' channel. I just throw out the topics and we discuss them, as you guys can see. So Let me know your thoughts on VTech. We'll talk a little bit more about some youngsters here. We got to wrap up with the youngsters. So Harry Amos, was reported today by Nathan Salt that PSV Eindhoven actually made an offer for Harry Amos, apparently. Problem is that it was an option for a permanent transfer, which apparently we don't want. We want him to go out on loan. Seems like we do believe either he'll be good or we can get more money for him, maybe if he doesn't work out for us, if he goes out on loan. Again, this has potential to be another Alvaro situation. I think Alvaro's a lot better than Amos. Amos needs to hit that gym and or get a growth spurt because the dude was getting bullied in the academy last season. I'm not saying I don't like him, but he's definitely got to work on that. Who knows? Fullbacks don't tend to be huge. Personally, not all of them are Thomas Muniers, but at the same time, Amos is definitely going to get bullied in this league if he doesn't bulk up a little bit. But apparently we just want the loan. So whether that's because we want, him for us or if we want, him to be sold. I mean, we bought Dorgu, who's 20. We got Diego Leon as well. So I wonder if it's actually like we think there's something to Amas's future here. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. I haven't really seen a whole lot. I thought Watford were rumored for a little while there. I feel like Hull were rumored, but that could have just been the Collier thing. But Roman says, "Not honestly, that's facts. You can't be having heart attacks every quarter." No, yeah, I don't. Every time this is why I don't like that when we concede. Every time we concede a corner, where we're gonna concede a goal because I don't trust Onana and I don't trust us to defend the ball in the box. We have an extra center back than any other team has on the pitch at any given time, and yet we look worse defending these balls in the box. I just don't get it. Nobody attacks the ball. Nobody seems to just like Harry Maguire. I like the guy, but the reason he can't wear the armband is because he lacks that mentality to go and attack the ball. He'll do it all day in the when we're attacking in the box, but defending, it's always back foot and it's never assertive. And you can't have that passive mentality and be a captain. Yes, Danny. Yes. Sound him out. Name him and shame him, you lurkers. I see you lurkers out there. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video, you guys. We are on the road to 3K. We're just about wrapped up here. We got a few more things to go. Big up, Jarvis. Good to see you, my friend. Better late than never, bud. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Box thinks that Amos is highly regarded. I think that we do like him. What does it say, though, when Amos was already involved in preseason last year and we brought in 2 left backs as well? To me, that the writing is almost a little bit on the wall there. And so I wonder what that means for Amos. I think that we're clinging to the hope that he'll get better, but we will see what he does. So speaking of that, who just said something about him in there? Box says, Alvaro 90 minutes tonight on debut for it. Nice. He's something like Fran Garcia, man. Fran Garcia, get out of that club. They don't like you there. You're so much better than sitting on the bench in Real Madrid. Fran Garcia, go find yourself a club, dude. Big up. Roman says, it's new age zonal marking. Mount was against Gabriel. Yeah, I thought Mount had a good game, but big up, Jarvis. Good to see you, my friend. So Amos reportedly subject of a bid from PSV Eindhoven that we turned down because it was a permanent transfer, not a loan. So youngsters, under 21s, another victory for the youngsters. So the under 18s beat Everton 1-0 on the weekend. Good job there. Under 21s beat Middlesbrough 1-0 yesterday. Ethan Ennis was the goal scorer in that one. Biancheri started in the 9. Both Fletchers started. Fitzgerald, Montato, Kamason. A lot of the old familiar faces we've talked about on this channel. You guys know we've done a few Academy watch-alongs last year because we are big fans of the Academy on this channel. I love the Academy. I think it's the best it's been since the early 90s. Tons and tons of talent in there. JJ Gabriel looking like absolute fire this past weekend as well, playing for the under 18s. He looks so good. And he looks like he's had a little bit of a growth spurt as well. So we'll see. We'll obviously be keeping watching there. Justin and I had the pleasure of going to a FA Youth Cup match while we were there last January as well. Got to see Cheeto play in person. The dude is an absolute unit. So really good. Scanlon was very good as well. So I like that a lot. The youngsters, I'm liking what I see. Let's see. Box says Madrid probably looking to sell. Well, they should have sold him long. I don't know what Carlos saw in Firlamendi. The dude is either shit or he's injured. Like, that's it. That's it. At least when Shaw is fit, he looks decent, but he's just never fit. So lucky things Villa are going to crash this season along with Bournemouth. Yeah, Bournemouth are struggling, man. Iriola Danny, I know you picked Iriola to replace Amorim if shit goes sideways. I might be right there with you, my friend, but Tactical Devil says, Sean, have you done a scouting report? I have not done a scouting report on JJ Gabriel. There's not going to be a whole lot of data out there for JJ Gabriel, not only because he's so young, but because he's also not had a ton of minutes at any level where you're going to get to see any data. So again, some of the scouting reports, I have these players in my notes. I hold off on doing them until I see a little bit more. Not like I need to see better, but sometimes the data is just not there. The sample size is just too small to really get an accurate portrayal, if that makes sense. So the more I watch a JJ Gabriel now that he's playing regularly for the under 18s and whatnot, we'll see if that is a consistent thing. The more of it, because I can't watch anything other than the under 18s basically, and so I can't go snoop around and try to Google under 15s. I'll get in trouble from the FBI or something. So, let's see, Bragamoff. Yeah, Bragamoff was class. So Bragamoff's been good though for the last year. Like he's just been good, dude. Gary wants to know what we think of Isak's statement tonight. Guys are wrong, and I think on one hand, we can laugh at Newcastle, right? Because they're just getting absolutely boned in this transfer window. On the other hand, we don't want Liverpool to get them, even though they just spent a boatload on Ekitike. So I don't get that one. How Liverpool, like, it is what it is. Maybe it's still the what's his face? Who's the dude that used to play for? Oh, it's totally on the tip of my tongue. Forget it. It is what it is. But Liverpool like to pretend they don't spend money, even though they absolutely do spend money. So what you gonna do? But yeah, the Isak stuff. I mean, I just don't. You guys know how I feel about players taking to social media for shit like this. And anytime a player does, it's always, always. There's always going to be a statement in there about like, other people are twisting things, other people are lying, this and that. Just want to make sure that the story is straight, kind of thing. Like it's just PR nonsense, man. This is literally nothing other than Isak forcing the move. That's all it is. And Newcastle have every right to hold out for as much money as they think he's worth, and no other fan from any other club, no Liverpool fan can complain about that because they were all hating on Trent Alexander-Arnold for leaving for free. 10 million. It was a 10 million fee so Real Madrid could get him in for the Club World Cup. Let's not have it any other way. So everybody's a little bit of a hypocrite in that regard, but I mean, Isak, again, it is what it is. I would love it if Baleba would do that. Like I can't complain. I can't diss Isak for doing that and then also say like if Baleba did that to get a move to United, I wouldn't be happy. Like I want, like, players have a role to play as well, but I mean, social media is definitely not the way to go, but you guys know how I feel about that. So Jay says there's another talented guy called JJ a couple of years ago. Fantastic dribbler. You guys are funny. Bexy says, here we go. Anana has been sold to a Saudi team for 50 million. Could you manage? You also had me there for a second, Bexy. 50 million, we'll never get that. We'll never. Yeah, I do remember that guy. We'll never get 50 million for Anana. We'll be lucky to get like 30, 35 million from a Saudi club. Maybe if he went to Inter or like back to Inter or something. I saw that AC Milan might be getting rid of Maignan. Did AC Milan sign any new keepers? Maybe we can convince Onana to go back to Milan, but the other side, like people do that all the time. So that would be nice. And then in closing on a positive note, got an update about Sekou Kone again from Nathan Salt. Sekou Kone fractured his eye socket against Hamworth. Now, for those of you who came on last week, we were kind of, that match was going on while we were live. It should have been over with, I think, but there was a long delay because we were defending a set piece. Kone got fouled in the box and Jen just went down. And then it was like a 20-minute delay while he got attended to. And then he left in an ambulance on a stretcher. We were worried a little bit about concussion. Maybe it was a protocol, but it looks like he fractured his eye socket. So when the Tamworth player came from behind and kind of got that elbow in, as people do, it looks like that elbow probably caught him in the eye socket. So the match was actually abandoned, if you guys remember that. So they didn't even finish the match. So for a few weeks, it sounds like he might have to wear a protective mask, kind of like what Victor Osimhen wears. But fractured eye socket, not fun. He was down for a minute. I had no idea what was going on. It looked pretty innocuous. It looked almost just like a basic concussion protocol, but it looks like he did catch one to the eye. So but at least he's better now and we figured it out and he's ready to go. So Roman says if Isak goes there, it's over. They'll get number 21 and it's disgusting. I mean, it is theirs to lose. You have to defend it. It's always hard to defend it. I mean, not many teams have done it. I don't count it when City do it because they're the only team who's done it with an asterisk next. I mean, we've done it several times. We've gone 3 in a row a couple times. So it's incredibly difficult to do. Everybody else has strengthened as well. So it's hard. We'll see. It's anybody's league at this point. Chelsea, don't rule out Chelsea. City are looking like City struggled against Wolves, but they did win, so I'll give them that. Liverpool, it looked dicey for a second there. I think defense is probably Liverpool's biggest issue right now because Frimpong, not really a defender personally. He's good, but he's not a defender. They're looking at Guehi. They picked up that young Italian kid from Parma. I think, Danny, you mentioned him last week as a scouting report. So they're trying to build, but you wonder if that's enough. So Van Dijk, I think, is overrated. So we'll see what happens. Rob, big up, Rob. Better even see Jarvis as someone even later than you, man. Yes, hit those like and subscribe buttons, you guys, as we wrap up tonight. What's this poll at? So 56% of you think a goalkeeper would be the one to go for if we only got to sign one player. Again, you guys know I agree. For me, going into the summer, it was definitely keeper and then striker, and you could flip a coin and take that either way. I'll always say at the end of the day, keepers, defenders have always been criminally underrated because clean sheets get you at least a point. You can score 3 goals, still concede 4 with a shit keeper, shit defenders, and you're still going to lose a match. So I'm not saying keepers are worth more. I'm saying that they've been underrated for a long time. So that being said, Jarvis says, Sean, your thoughts on the Bruno breakdown? You guys were talking a lot about Bruno, Jarvis. I've kind of already moved on. I had to leave middle of the stream. I had other stuff I had to do yesterday, so I don't know how long you guys talked about it. I did talk earlier a little bit about some of the way we're setting up now under Amorim, especially in different spells of possession areas that I do think contributes to Bruno taking up free roaming spots. Now, I said earlier, and I wrote notes, so I'll read my notes. So, like, there was a couple points in time yesterday, and Amorim kind of hinted at this not that long ago about using someone like De Ligt as almost like a midfield role, and we saw that yesterday. So there were points in time where like Cunha and Mbeumo would kind of move centrally. They would occupy some of Arsenal's players. They would kind of get doubled up. So what that did was leave Bruno free to take up that more advanced midfield role. And some people were like, well, he's abandoning Casemiro. But if you look again, it's all part of Amorim's system because when Bruno did that, De Ligt would move up into the double pivot next to Casemiro, which is exactly what Amorim was talking about not that long ago. And so Bruno doesn't get allowed to do that stuff by like 4 managers if he's not being told that it's fine. And so Bruno is one of those players where, yes, it's both and. Yes, he roams around a lot, but at the same time, you almost put up with it to some extent because of his numbers, what he does, the armband, whatever you want to call it. Now, it is what it is. I think that people can argue about this till like rapture at this point. I don't think there's ever going to be a right or wrong. I think in some people's cases, they're still mad that he didn't leave because they wanted the money. Some people just don't like Bruno. It is what it is. I try to be objective about it. And so, again, I point to a couple of system and tactical setups that I saw last night to defend some of that. Again, he had a shit match. I called him our worst player on Sunday against Arsenal. So you guys can I'm objective. So it is what it is. It's kind of like some of the Hojlund shit that I've seen on some channels, though, and I'm not trying to diss you, Jarvis, or anything, but like comes to a point where I'm like, we're just talking in circles, so there's really no point in talking about it anymore. On the match on Sunday, I try to keep it about the match. I don't try to let stuff from last season influence the way I look at Bruno in matches, if that makes sense. I just say, like, on the day he was shit. I don't think his positional issues were the problem. I think he was just not switched on. He just had a bad day at the office. So we know that that's way below what we expect from Bruno and what we've seen from Bruno, and so I'm not gonna worry about it. Hopefully, it's just a big one-off. So, let's see. Bach says it's been one game of a new season. Yeah, it's been one game. It is what it is. So, but until next time, you guys, keep eye out. It is Kickabout tomorrow. I'm gonna touch base with Dylan, see what's going on. But you guys know the Wednesday is a Kickabout. Legends members, you can join in on that if you need to. If you want to get involved in that chat for a little bit. just hit me up. Anybody who's a Legends member wants to join in at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com. I'll send you that link if you want to get involved. So be sure to come back for that. We're going to be kind of the kickabout. For those of you who are new, Dylan shows up and we kind of recap the last week. So we'll probably talk a little bit about the Arsenal match and some of the transfer news and some other stuff as well. It's a little bit more chill than we do here, but it's a good little recap. It usually takes like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's I like it. It's fun. So, and of course, if there's any major breaking transfer news, we'll be back to get your thoughts on that as well. But until next time, you guys, thank you guys for stopping by. Bexy wants to know what position at Everton did I apply for. It was a youth intervention, like psychologist position. So not necessarily academy psychologist, but like working to incorporate like risk assessment and the safeguarding stuff that clubs look at and at that level, which I've done a lot. You guys know I'm a mental health professional, so I've worked a lot with teens, both professionally and like at church and stuff in the past. So I'm adept at that kind of thing. I'm experienced that kind of thing. It's never going to happen. I don't know why I apply, because I live here. I don't live there. So, but it is one of the roles that I could just be qualified for. So you never know. I'm a firm believer that the answer is always no if you never ask. So who knows? But I'm sure that my wife would not want to get on a plane and move to Liverpool. So at least it's not Liverpool. If it was, I don't care if I was qualified and it was the most perfect position at Liverpool, I wouldn't apply for it. No, I just wouldn't. Or I would apply, get it, and intentionally screw up every future academy player that they have, so we would never have to deal with them. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. But in any case, you guys, like the video, please. Subscribe to the channel. Please check those memberships. I don't know how you can get more involved in the channels. Go check out the United vs. Everybody store. If you scroll down below your video player, you'll see a couple sample products. Click on any one of them. It'll take you to the website. You can look at everything on there. So go check that out as well. Box thinks I'll be living in Liverpool. I've never actually been to Liverpool, so I don't know what it's about. If it was a job in Manchester, it'd be great. I love going to Manchester, so I'll be back in December. Dylan and I are going, so I don't think my wife planned on me going every year once I started going, but it was her idea. She tried to surprise me, and she created a monster, because now I go at least once every year. So that's the last time I'm saying goodbye, you guys. So take it easy, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. I love to see all the new faces in the chat. So come back tomorrow for the kickabout. And then if there's any late breaking news, we will be back to get your thoughts. So until then, take it easy, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you on the next one. Later.